Tonight, we're going to talk about when do you know they're the one, part 2. I want to say hello to each and every one of you. I'm so glad that you all are with me. Again, I don't take it lightly that you all are with me. All right, so let me go on. So this is a part 2. You know, we started this on Monday night, I believe, and tonight is a part 2. I was looking at a website that was saying early signs that they're the one. And I started looking at the list. And I got to be honest, y'all, I couldn't get with anything on the list. Because as far as I'm concerned, don't look for early signs. There's deception in early signs. There's deception in early signs. Let me go ahead and say this. I didn't plan on saying this, but let me go ahead on and saying this. I remember there was a particular job that I had, and I didn't have all of the qualifications. Matter of fact, there were some things that I still needed. And this is really before I was, deliverance comes in stages for many of us. So I got to be honest, I lied on my application. I'm getting ready to go somewhere already. I lied on my application because I wanted the job and I needed the job. And the reason why I needed the job, there was many reasons I needed the job. I had already had a child, and I was in a new relationship. And I wanted to be able to impress this person I was with by having a job. I wanted to be able to take care of my son. So I fudged the application. Yeah, I did. This was long time ago. But what I did was I worked that job. It was actually working in a mailroom somewhere. And I worked that job. When I tell you I was the best mail person there ever was at this particular company, I was the best. My job was to greet people as I was putting the mail in mailboxes, and it was a rough job. But I was a beast at it. I was early, while other people, my other counterparts, came in on time. I was early. And I did everything I could to overcompensate, hoping that if HR ever got wind of my situation, it doesn't work, because if they catch you, they fire you. But I'd hope that by the time my life caught up with the reality, with my reality, that somehow they would work something out. Now, I was going to night school and trying to get things straight and all of that. But I was out there. A lot of times, we got to understand when something is early, sometimes there's deception in it. That is so deep right there. I don't know if you got it. But sometimes when there's deception there, a lot of times, when there's somebody early, when there's something early, there's a lot of times deception. And I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes deception is caught up in something early. You ever seen somebody who desires to get close to the pastor, or they desire to get close to the boss, and they're always Johnny on the spot? They're always this early, and they're just a beast at what they do, and you're like, okay, something's up with this person. They're pushing too hard. Many times when somebody's pushing, they're pushing at the beginning of a relationship because there's something they've lied about on their application. Y'all not with me? I'm starting already. There's something that they haven't told you. There's something that they're being deceptive at, and they're hoping that they can get you to the point where they can make such a connection. So when the HR of your spirit, when the human resources of your spirit finds out about this deception that they've been hired, that you hired them on the false pretense of, they're hoping that you will let it slide. Y'all not with me? I'm preaching right now to somebody tonight, trying to warn you, or it's a confirmation of what you already know. And with us men, watch this. When our stuff's not right, we want to sleep with you as soon as possible. You're not with me? And not just sleep with you, but we want you, and this is a spiritual thing, in a wicked spirit, we want to turn you out. So that way your mind is all messed up. There's a connection that is made. I'm in the company. You get to know me. I'm speaking to everybody. I'm in that company. I'm connected to that company, and I'm getting benefits. Y'all ain't with me tonight. Of that company, because I came in under false pretenses, and I'm hoping that all of those things, I'm already in. I'm trying to get in. I'm already in. Hoping that with the HR of your spirit catches it, that you will let it go. Oh, that's so deep tonight. So as far as I'm concerned, there are no early signs that somebody's the one, because many times early signs are nothing but falsehood. Early signs are based upon someone's drive, often to make something work. When I didn't have a car, this is back in my early teenage years, I was walking all over town. And when I finally got a piece of car, you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm going somewhere with this. I thought that car was a Rolls Royce to me because I had been walking. But this car was the best car I could afford. It was a raggedy car. But you couldn't tell me nothing because I was walking and I was desperate to get a car. And somebody says anything beats walking. So I put rugs on the floor to cover up the bad floorboards because you could see the road. If I didn't have those, if you pull those rugs up, they were rusted, the floorboards were rusted out. And I would put rugs down to cover up the bad floorboards. I put blankets. I'm going somewhere. I need you to stay with me. I put blankets on the badly torn seats. I sprayed Febreze. Febreze wasn't out then, but the equivalent of whatever it was. Glade Solid, whatever it was. I sprayed Febreze on the interior and the blankets that were covering up the seats. I had those pine tree air fresheners all over the car. And baby, if that car made noise, I'm going somewhere, I just turned the radio up. You're not with me. And to me, all of that was better than walking. But watch this. One thing in my desperation to get a car, something happened. Watch this. This is deep. Watch this. I stopped exercising because I was no longer walking. I was walking everywhere I went, and I was in shape. Watch this. But once I got this raggedy car, I stopped walking. Stay with me. I'm in church right now. And I put on weight. Stay with me. And the more weight I put on, the less productive I was at work on my job. And the less productive I was at work, I had trouble from moving from a minimum wage job to a better job. Now, I know you said, well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Well, I want you to understand it in this application that I'm giving you. Because many times, that can be seen in so many other ways. But I want you to understand it in it where I'm getting ready to touch you on. And many of us find ourselves in the same position when it comes to relationships. Many times we settle because we've been walking. And once we get a hold of something, it could be something that's no good. We feel that it's better than walking. It's better than nothing. But then we stop exercising in our spirit. What does that mean? That means bettering ourselves. Moving from a minimum wage self-esteem. Moving from a minimum wage situation in our lives. Moving from a minimum wage perspective. Many times we pick up, because we've been so long walking, we were doing bad. You thought you were doing good or bad by yourself, but you were actually doing some good, because when you were by yourself, you were exercising your mind. Watch this. You were doing good when you were exercising your spirit. Watch this. You were doing good when you were exercising just your way of life. Your relationship with God was tighter. You were more on point with your spirituality. I'm going to get to when do you know that they're the one, but I've got to touch you in this area to help you to learn some of the principles behind the title of tonight's lesson. When you stop pouring into yourself, that is the equivalent of me getting that raggedy car, and I'm not facing the reality, Dr. Anita Daly's on tonight, of what I really have, because I'm covering it up. You ever seen somebody bring home a raggedy person and they've covered them up with rugs and they sprayed Febreze over their life and they put blankets on the cover of the interior, and they're like mom, dad, or they're trying to tell their friends, no, this person's a good person. This is a good car here. And also, while you don't realize the reality of your situation, that this is a piece of junk car, it keeps you from really being able to look and see what you have in terms of having a goal to have something better. Watch this. Once I stopped walking, walking was all about what I could put into myself, the good things, the exercise into myself and my spirit. Once I stopped walking and I got this junk piece of car, I started putting weight on. Many of you had put on weight, and because you put on weight, you're not able to move. You're not able to move from a bad relationship, from a bad car. You're lazy on your job. You've become lazy. You've picked up weight. You're not moving to the next person, to where you need to be. You're not enhancing anything. Let me give you an example. I'm not even going to say you tonight. Let's take the weight off of you tonight. Y'all know, we all know church folk. There's some woman, some man that ain't had nobody in a while, and they were into the Lord. They were coming to church, but as soon as they found some raggedy man or some raggedy woman, now all of a sudden their church attendance is raggedy. They don't come to Bible study like they used to. Y'all, you know what I'm saying. They don't praise like they used to. They're not in place like they used to. You got to get them on the phone. You come to church, the whole thing has slacked off. Their pattern has changed. That's because they have settled and got caught up in a raggedy car. And again, they can't see the reality because they've covered it up with rugs and they sprayed it with Febreze. So, when do you know that they're the one? Many times, you've got to make sure that you are in the place to be able to accurately judge if this person has many of the qualities that you're looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, if you sidestep and jump into bed it's going to complicate some things for you. It's going to complicate many things. You won't know if you're left or right. You don't know what you're doing. And watch this. Remember when I said that if the car was making noise, I just turned the radio up and the problem was fixed? Many of us, when we see something making noise that we've purchased, a relationship making noise, we won't take it to the mechanic to get it fixed because we don't want the true assessment of whatever it is that's making noise. We know it's going to cost us something. And sometimes it's going to, that noise means that we've got to actually get rid of that car. Many of you right now have a relationship that's making a ton of noise, but you've turned the radio up. You've let music of your life and excuses cover up the noise that car is trying to tell you, and you won't take it to the mechanic. What's the mechanic? There's relationships that I've been in that I did not pray. I didn't take it to the master. I didn't take it to the mechanic because I didn't want the mechanic to call out everything that was wrong. I didn't bring that person that I was dating to my pastor. I didn't bring that person in front of the evangelist. I didn't bring that person around church folk. I didn't because I knew that they were going to tell me that I was going to have to get rid of this car and that it was but I tuned it out. And sex is the equivalent of tuning out the noise that's really there. Sex has a way of turning the radio up and to keep you from going to the mechanic. All right. How many of you have gone to the pastor or the mechanic or gone to the Lord and the Lord or the mechanic, the Lord, your pastor, said no? And when you left it, you thought about it for a minute, but then you went and turned the radio back up and you're like, I this is the best I can do. I love this person. And I can't see anything beyond this. I can't see anything beyond them and beyond what I have right now. So when do you know that they're the one? Remember, like I said in part 1, everything has to be tried. It's got to be tried in the fire. You got to understand that it's going to take some time. You can't rush this thing. Okay? Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Cece. Thank you, Glenda. I want to real quickly talk about soulmate. Here we go. Because many of you have a misconception about what a soulmate is. I'm going to blow you away with this. You might turn me off right now. Okay? A soulmate, I'm going to give you the revelation first, then I'm going to go back and kind of back up and explain it. A soulmate is the person that you're married to. Your soulmate, as far as God is concerned, God bless you, Shell, is the person that you're married to. Now, that's the legal, the spiritually legal definition of a soulmate. Watch this. That person can be saved. That person don't have to be saved. You can be compatible with that person. You cannot be compatible with that person. I'm going to go further and say, and I'll explain it. Anyone that you marry, across the board, whether you have everything in common or not, anybody that you legally enter into this binding situation with, that's your soulmate. I know you never heard it like that. There's no lyrics out there in a song, gospel song or secular song, that ever puts it that way. You might disagree, but I'm going to give you something to try to help you understand that. If you marry someone, there you go. Dawn said covenant with a question mark. I'm going to put covenant with the exclamation point. I'm going to talk about the legal spiritually, and then I'll talk about the illegal spiritually. If you're married to someone, God wants you to honor that covenant. He is so serious about honoring that particular covenant. So much so, if you go back through the Old Testament and read it, God made covenants. He kept those covenants. He is a keeper of the covenant. Once you marry someone, there's no other soulmate out there. You may not. You're gonna have to pray. You're gonna have to pull some scriptures out, because that might not make sense. You may not have never heard it like that before. But I'm just telling you the truth. If you're sitting in church and your husband is sitting at home, you got to understand that God is not going to say, you looking at somebody across the room and you're going, and they're saved, and God is saying, oh, you missed out on your soulmate. Your soulmate is really that other person over there. So you need to divorce this person and get with this other person, because they're saved, and that person is your soulmate, and this other person that you're married to. God doesn't work like that. He doesn't want you to disavow the covenant that you've made. That's a lot to unpack. I really, but I'm saying that so you won't make the mistake that I've made and that many of you have made. Many of us have made that mistake because we don't get along with the person. We can't stand the person. Hate to see the person's car in the driveway. They ain't saved. They don't want to go to church. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And we see somebody that's saved, and we think that that other person is our soulmate. And your soulmate is the person that you marry. There's no other soulmate out there. Now, does God forgive you? Does God forgive you? Does God forgive you? You make a mistake, you divorce that other person. Can another person be your soulmate? Once you've forgiven and forgiveness, and a lot of preachers are preaching different. God can forgive you and all of that. But I wouldn't, we're human. We make mistakes. And again, this is a lot to unpack. I can't give it to you all tonight. But I'm just trying to see if I can help you. God wants you to honor that covenant. As long as you're married, there's no other soulmate out there. I'm just letting you know, because some of you tonight are watching me. You're still married on paper. But then you go and you say, well, Pastor Cherry, can I talk to you? This is person I know I'm not supposed to really be in a relationship with them, but I'm with them, and I really feel that they're my soulmate. That's not how that works. Thank you, Nikki. She said, do a part 2, part 3, whatever you got to do. Just teach it. As long as you're married. And I'm just telling you how, don't look to God. And let's put it this way. Again, you take care of that. You repent. Meaning in your heart. That's something you got to answer to God about. But don't look for God to bless this other thing here that you think is a soulmate when you already have a soulmate on paper. There's no such thing as a soulmate that you are not married to in terms of how God sees it. Oh, that's so deep. I didn't even plan on going there tonight. I don't know why I'm going there tonight. All right. The next soulmate is an illegal spiritually. It's a spiritually shacking up soulmate. I don't know why I'm going here tonight. I know y'all saying, Pastor Cherry, you promised to do when do you know that they're the one, and this is a part 2. But this is all, it may not be directly what, but it's conducive for your life. I don't know why I'm going here tonight. When you sleep with someone that you're not married to, it's the same. It's the same thing. But now it's illegal. You've created a soulmate. Okay, so you said, is that person my soulmate? In God's eyes, no, because it's illegal. But in the spiritual realm, according to how God has planned everything, you have created a soul. There it is, Dawn, Harold Lopez. A soul tie. So now, yes, you now share a soul with that person. Now, this illegal thing that you got going on doesn't mean that that's the only person on earth that you're destined to be with. I'm going to say it one more time because many of you confused. That person that you slept with and that you have feelings for, that you have a hard time breaking away from, that is your soulmate in a legal sense. You got to hide out with this thing, spiritually. It's like you've run away and from home, and that you cannot be upfront with this. You can't pray to God with this. This is an illegal thing that God is against. You've joined souls with someone. All right, I have to come back to that. I don't want to spend all night on that. I'm just touching you with that. I'm just hoping you understand that. But please know, in general, your soulmate is the person that you choose. This is so deep. To marry. There's no, I'm going to say it. There's no magic formula. There's no special power to it. God wants you to choose. Men, you choose the woman. Ladies, you choose the man. You don't go out and get the man, but you choose according to the men that approach you. But men and women, you use the guidelines that God has given you in terms of choosing. Go through the word. It'll show you how to choose. All right. Let me go on further. When do you know that they're the one? Remember I said when I was walking how my body was physically on point, which really helped my spirit, which helped me to be able to think clearly. Because while I was walking, I was doing more talking with God, and I was exercising my body and keeping my spirit in tune. This is why God, in the cool of the day, came in the garden to walk with Adam. It's something about that walk. Okay, all right, let me go on. If you ever, let me give you another analogy. Women, men, how many of you have been to a department store and you were testing out different fragrances at the fragrance counter, perfume, cologne counter? And at many of the stores, they have coffee grounds for you to be able to smell. All right, I'm going to say this. It is, you remember that, you go to the counter, you sniff 1 scent, then they give you the coffee grounds because the coffee grounds breaks up the scent from the previous fragrance in order for you to be able to have a fresh perspective, y'all gonna run right now, of the next fragrance. When do you know that they're the one? You need time in between from the previous fragrance, from the previous relationship, in order to be able to be, as Dawn said, to clear your olfactory senses. Go ahead, girl. Put it out there. In order to be able to have a fresh perspective, you need, in order for you to be able to tell if they're the one, is you need a fresh perspective. But the problem is you're going from fragrance to fragrance to fragrance, and you're not breaking that fragrance up with coffee grounds, and you're so confused, you don't know what's yours, you don't know what's right, you don't know what, all of the things that your personal preference that you have in your spirit, all of that is jacked up. Your senses are jacked up because you're not taking time to break that smell up with the coffee grounds. Y'all not with me. You ever get a fragrance home? You've tested several fragrances, and you get that fragrance home, and you're like, oh, no, man, this is not. Many of you, watch this, many of us have taken the wrong fragrance home. And sometimes when you use that stuff up, you can't take it back. Oh, Lord. All right. Okay. Many of us have taken fragrance home because we didn't use those coffee grounds in between. Here's the coffee grounds. Y'all not with me tonight. This should be hearts and stuff and thumbs up and going all across the screen right now. This is your coffee grounds. In between each person, you need to, between each fragrance, you need to be able to smell test. Get the word in you. Break up that fragrance from that last person. Y'all not with me tonight. You're not with me. Break up the scent from that last fragrance in order to have a fresh perspective tonight. So that way, you know exactly the scent. So when do you know that they're the one? Is when your senses are clear. How do you know that they're the one? You can judge better when your spirit is clear. When do you know that they're the one? When you've taken time to get to know them. You've walked enough. You've exercised. Okay. Let me give you another. Let me give you another thing here. Many of us remember Ginger and Gilligan and Marianne from Gilligan's Island. Remember that Marianne, I know this, Lovey Howell, Thurston the third Howell's wife, whatever, she was doing different things. But Ginger and Marianne were always the ones that came up with skits and plays on this deserted island. There's so many hearts going across the screen right now. I'm going to help you right here. You're going to like this, Maria. Dawn, y'all going to like this. On this island, Marianne and Ginger seemed to be the main ones that would always come up with skits and plays and different things they would sing and they would dance. Before they went on this 3-hour tour to be marooned on this desert, this deserted island, Marianne was an employee at Winfield General Store. I don't know what she did. I don't know if she bagged groceries. I don't know if she worked the register. I don't know if she worked in produce. But she was an employee at this general store called Winfield General Store. We all know that Ginger was a Hollywood actress. we know she was a glamorous movie star. But I want to give you a point to help you understand this. To help you to understand that how your lives can change when you find yourself women on a deserted island. No matter what you were, do I need to unpack that a little bit more? What is a deserted island? Where you are stuck. You're not in a relationship now, but you're emotionally stuck because of the previous relationship that you were in. And you found yourself not being able to move on. They might have left you. You're on this deserted island. Okay, y'all with me? Watch this. I always when I watched Gilligan's Island, and I said, okay, Marianne and Ginger, they're doing this dance and this singing and entertainment. Leela, you got me. Marianne, Glover, you got me. Okay, Marla, watch this. When you find yourself, ladies, deserted, all right, thank you, Zachary. Deserted, on a deserted island, marooned and deserted. Women, you're often going to be in charge of the entertainment. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I'll unpack it in a second. I'm hoping that you just got that before I even have to unpack that. People, Nikki, Leela, Nikki, y'all see what I'm adding? I'm saying, y'all see what I'm saying? When you find yourself on a deserted island, you often end up being the ones in charge of the entertainment. You thought that new man loved you. You thought that man really wanted a relationship, and he promised, watch this, just do one more skit, Marianne and Ginger, and we'll get you off the island. Do one more skit, entertain us, and I'm going to put a ring on that thing. Entertain us, and I'll make a way for us. I'll build a boat. I'll do whatever we got to do to get you off that island. But the man only wanted you for entertainment. Y'all not with me. You realize after the fact, no matter who you were in the past, you find yourself in this particular situation, and you're going to be in charge of the entertainment. And because you are stuck, your desperation to try to get off the island. Let me help you women out real quickly. Have you ever been so desperate for a relationship to work that you were almost willing to do almost anything to get off the island? You were willing to be the entertainment. Oh, that right there, that ought to just, thank you, Maria, that ought to just, Evangelist, God bless you, if that doesn't speak to your spirit to help you to understand. So when do you know that you're the one? One, you are complete by yourself. You don't need a man to complete you. They say that when God took the rib from Adam, that he had one less rib, that men have one less rib from women. That's not true. Science will tell you, biology will tell you that men and women have the same amount of ribs. Ribs are regenerative. So it's possible that the rib that Adam took grew back. Oh, Lord have mercy. You are complete. You must work on being complete before you meet the man. Before you meet the man. Don't rely on a man to complete you, because you're going to find yourself stuck. You're going to find yourself on that desert island being the entertainment for some man, because you're looking for him to do something for you. Y'all remember the analogy that I gave? How many people, you've drove past the U-Haul place, and there was the U-Haul that was like that little kind of trailer part, and it was, it had the hitch on it, and it's kind of slanted because it's waiting to attach itself onto something. It was whatever you call that little trailer part. It doesn't have an engine. It doesn't move on its own, but it's relying on a rental, someone with an engine to hook up to it, to pull it. Watch this. Y'all gonna scream if you haven't heard this analogy from me before. Many of you have become that trailer, that U-Haul trailer that doesn't have an engine, and you've been waiting for some man to attach themselves onto you, or attach you onto them. Boy, the screen is going crazy right now. In order to take you somewhere. You know what the sin of that is? No, before I go there, remind me if I got to go back. I got it. What you don't realize is you think you're wanted because they attach themselves to you. But what they're doing is they're using you for what's inside of you. They're using your insides, y'all not with me, to place their baggage and their luggage in. They're using the inside of you to place weight inside of you. And when they're done, they're going to return you back as a rental for the next man to go ahead on and do the same thing, attach themselves to you. They put their luggage inside of you. They weigh you down. They use you for a move to take them to another level. Then they dump you back at the rental place. And then another man, you're waiting without a motor for another man to hook up to you so they can put their baggage and weigh you down and use you for the next move in their life. Y'all not with me tonight. God, ladies, thank you, Robert. Whew. God created you, ladies, to have your own engine. There's no way. When you go past a U-Haul place and you see that little trailer part, that little thing, you'll never be the same. You're like, boy, Pastor Cherry talked about that. God never intended for you to be a motorless trailer. I heard today, when you're a pastor, folk come and tell you stuff. And they were telling me about a former member. They said, oh, man, he beat his wife. He beat her. She don't have no say-so. He just beat her, and she has no say-so. God never intended it to be that way. Somebody posted on Facebook that they tried to let somebody back in, and they beat her when she let them in the door in front of their child that they had together. Ladies, you never were intended not to have an engine. That's why I'm telling you, you are not a pull-by trailer. If any moving needs to be done, ladies and gentlemen, how do you know that they're the one? If any moving needs to be done, you need to be able to move it yourself. and not really wait on the side of the road at some rental place for some man to drop a couple of bucks on you on a dinner or some movie or some show to hook you up to end up weighing you down with a bunch of stuff. Ladies, where's your engine? God gave you one. He created you to have an engine. What happened? What happened to your engine? There's plenty more I can say, but I guess I just need that right there. Just needs to. I'm not doing that to waste time. That right there. What happened to your engine? What happened to your engine? The next U-Haul place you drive past, I want you to take a good look at that trailer and say, you know what, the devil stripped me of my engine. And look what happened. I can't do anything by myself. That's why I said you got to be complete before you meet the man. Because if a man realizes, and also women realize too, because you use us men the same way. But if a man realizes that you have no get up and go on your own, if you don't have the capacity to do anything on your own and you're relying on him, he's going to hook you up. He's going to place all of his baggage inside of you. He's going to weigh you down. You know the rest. So when do you know that they're the one? You've got to be complete in and of yourself in order to be able to judge. You've got to give it time. You've got to get past that googly-eyed stage. You've got to be able to, I had it in my notes here. I think if I can find it here. You need time to figure out if you can tolerate, this is important, their weaknesses. That is so important. You don't know their weakness in the beginning. You don't see their weakness. Why? Because you've been sniffing fragrances at the counter. And God bless you, Glennis Thompson. I need to talk to you real soon. You haven't taken the time at the department store to use those coffee grounds in between sniffing fragrances to break up, like I told you earlier, that smell so you can accurately judge the new fragrance. And because you're not taking the time to put those coffee grounds to your mouth, to your nose, you're not giving yourself time to accurately be able to judge, to accurately figure out if you can tolerate their weakness. I have weaknesses. You have weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. The only difference is there are certain things we can put up with, and there's certain things that we can't put up with. And it all depends on the uniqueness of that individual. Say it one more time. The only difference is there are certain things that we put up with or don't put up with the person. It all depends on the uniqueness of that individual. There are certain things we won't tolerate from person A, but person B, we tolerate it. But you got to understand the reason. What's the real reason why you wouldn't tolerate it with person A, but you tolerate it with person B? Could it be that your sense of smell is off because it's been too soon that God bless you, Pastor Andrea Gooding. I love you, my friend. Has it been too soon? Is your sense of smell jacked up because you just was at the fragrance counter, you just got finished smelling the other fragrance, and you didn't take time to break that up with the coffee grounds before you went to a new fragrance? Why is it that you're putting up with this new person? You wouldn't put up with it with them. So when do you know that they're the ones? You got to find out their weaknesses. And that doesn't happen in 2 months. I don't even want to hear the report. I'm closing now. But with my daughter, and she's dating and stuff, doing all that, she's 18, she's dating and stuff, I don't even want to hear the beginning report. I mean, I want to hear who this guy is and all that. But I don't want to hear how wonderful this guy is. I don't want to hear that. Because you don't know this guy yet. My son, I don't want to hear how awesome this woman is. What are you talking about? How kind and how generous and how... You need to find out, and this is so important. Can you tolerate their weaknesses? Can you tolerate their weaknesses? Can they tolerate yours? That takes time. Again, let's talk about you for 2 seconds. I'm signing off. You cover your weaknesses. We do it, or I do it. I'm not going to put myself out there to be rejected. I'm trying to lock you in. I'm not putting myself out there. But many times we camouflage ourselves, and then in time, once they find out about us, then they don't want us. But watch this. The person that I don't sleep with, I don't owe them anything. The person as a man, if I don't sleep with them, if I don't take anything from them, it's easier for them to walk away. Sex belongs specifically in marriage. Have you ever had a relationship that did not work out, that you didn't sleep with the person? And you felt so good about the fact that you didn't give them your body. You didn't do this illegal wedding rehearsal. That's it for tonight. I pray that you all got something from this tonight. I pray that you all, that I've helped you all in some way. I want to thank you all for continuously being with me. And I'm going to read through the comments and see if there's anything else that we need to tackle in our future session. I love each and every one of you. I want the best for you regarding relationships. Take each of these principles that I've shared with you tonight. God bless you, Dawn, and put them in your heart. Put them in your mind and your spirit. Ladies, the next U-Haul place you drive past, and you see that trailer that's laying on the ground because it's waiting for somebody to pick it up, remember what I said. Where's your engine? Because God didn't create you that way. He didn't create you that way. I love you all. God bless you, and good night.